Hear the shout of liberty, equal rights and dignity, dignity and honor. Oh, my God, that will never stop. So we rise for truth and justice. The birds are born and not born.
Hello and happy 60th Independence, Nigeria and its good people. And it's good to have you on the program House of Justice, especially for this very special Independence Day edition of the program. And today we will be discussing the topic independence and its meaning to the Nigerian female. We have thought it important to see how we can have a more nuanced conversation to see how we can include the gender that seems quite often to be forgotten in terms of nation building and to see what that could mean moving forward. And we are so glad that we have a creme de la creme, if you'd like to say, a set of guests for this special Independence Day anniversary. And I will be joined by the former chairman of the National Human Rights Commission. I'm talking about Professor Chidi Ansem Odenkalu. Good evening, Prof, and thank you for joining us on this program.
Good evening, Gloria, and I hope you're good.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you for coming, sir. And we also have Professor Joy Ngozi Ezielu OON. She is a professor of public law at the University of Nigeria and the former United Nations Special Rapporteur on Human Trafficking. And I guess that she will be joining us. Also joining us on the special edition is the General Secretary of the Nigeria Bar Association, Joyce Udua Esquire, and Joyce will be joining us on this conversation as well on independence and its meaning to the Nigerian female. I am in the studio with former chair of the International Federation of Women Lawyers, Kaduna State, and I'm talking about Mrs. Sidikat Bello Adiboye. Thank you for joining me on House of Justice.
Thank you. Good evening.
And so it's that day that doesn't happen very often. 60 days, 60 years of doing this business of building a nation, and it's important to go down memory lane to see what it means. Professor, it's 60 years of Nigeria's independence. Can you walk us through what that means in terms of our wins and our losses?
I don't know whether I can. You've heard from the president today, and what he reckons is our achievement and our achievements. But I say deliberately is our achievement because I didn't quite get anything more than, oh, we remain together as a country. Now I can understand for those for whom that means everything, then that's an achievement. But the citizens of the country are also rendering their own verdicts. Depending on whom you read, that remaining together could be a burden, a problem, a solution, or none of the above, or worse. And the problem is Nigeria is united in the disillusionment of its citizens across the board. It's not just a disillusionment of citizens as members of different ethnicities, of people from different states. It's also disillusionment of women and men, of the young and old, of all major demographics. There's only one demographic that is not disillusioned. It's the entitled elite whose children ride presidential jets to attend weddings in different parts of the country, and whose families ride in presidential jets or private jets to hospitals outside the country for medical checkups. But apart from that, if you look, for instance, at maternal mortality, all right, the maternal mortality figures are not getting better, they are getting worse. And if you disaggregated for different parts of the country, the maternal mortality figures in Northeast Nigeria at nearly 1,700 per 100,000 live births is absolutely the worst in the world. The worst in the world currently is Sierra Leone at 1,100 over 500. Okay? Well, that Northeast Nigeria is worse than Afghanistan. It's worse than Syria. It's worse than DRC. It's worse than South Sudan. That is also part of Nigeria's story of unity in quotes. All right? And I don't want to hug the mic, but I want to tell the story of Federal Government Girls College Mongono. In 2013, before the school was shut down because of Boko Haram problems, FGGC Mongono had over 2,500 students. 2.5 years ago, when I went to visit FGGC Mongono, it no longer existed. It had been merged with Federal Government College Maiduguri. Its principal was in Maiduguri. And the number of girls in that school left was less than 55. Let me repeat myself. From over 2,500 young girls going to school with a future and skills to just under 55 left in a period of less than 4 years. That is also part of this experience of independence. But let me stop there. And I hope that as the conversation evolves, we will try and granulate this experience, particularly from the point of view of women, girls, and females who are also Nigerian citizens.
Thank you for giving us the lay of the land. And back here with the FIDA former chairperson, what would you say about independence as it affects particularly women in Nigeria?
Well, independence is subjective because issue of independence is dictated by socio-cultural norms, values, and religion, especially where we are now. Issue of religion is uppermost when it comes to the girl child. You find that in some homes, when a girl tries to make a difference, they call her she's stubborn, she's a tomboy. And even wonder even if she will get a husband because of the way she behaves. She has an independent mind, she expresses herself. The parents are the first obstacle in our quest to be independent as a human being. They will be the ones to question our behavior as one that can handle a marriage. Because for the parents, the head and tail of a female child mostly is to marry. That is the situation we have found ourselves as Africans. And culture has held us onto these beliefs for so long. Women were considered as chattel. Even with the whites, in the 1800s, women went voting. They were also chattel. But with education and enlightenment and movement of people who have passion to see the woman make a difference, things started to change there. In Nigeria, we still have a long way to go. We are still bogged down by issues of religion. We are bogged down by issues of culture. When you are getting married, they tell you to submit. When you are telling a woman to submit, how can she express her independence? When a girl child, a Muslim girl is told all the time that it is the man who is supposed to take care of you, to clothe you, feed you, and accommodate you, how can she develop an independent mind? She has already been tailored to understand that her role is to be a man's companion and he should provide for her. Most of the girls today sell themselves just to eat. Some because of parental neglect, some because of societal issues, insecurity here and their mother is dead, father is dead, and the child is left on her own. So she believes that to get her independence, she must sell herself to move ahead, to get along. And what do they buy? It is wig, it is shoe, it is bag. Things that don't matter in the development of a human being to contribute to society. And at the end of the day, they become drug addicts. and become a burden to society. So this issue of the independence must be drummed in a different way, and to empower the girl child by way of education, not necessarily Western education, but that the fact that she can take care of herself and express herself and have her self-dignity. Many girls of nowadays don't have self-confidence in themselves. They prefer to be at the background, waiting for manna to fall from heaven. How can you be independent in that way? So we need to change the way we bring up our boy children and our girl children.
It does. I think that we have there the General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association, Joyce Odua. Do you hear me? Good evening and thank you for joining us.
I think she's muted.
Oh, I think that Madam General Secretary is muted. The General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association.
She's unmuted now.
Thank you for joining us on this special edition.
Yeah, I'm okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Nice being with you.
Thank you, and we're glad to have you. So you joined us right at the point where we have been told the lay of the land, and the FIDA rep here has explained to us what independence mean or doesn't mean to the Nigerian female. And just flipping it back to the president's speech this morning, it seems like that the story about dignity for the Nigerian female is also the story of dignity and neglect for many people around the country. Perhaps that also explains why the central theme of the president's speech is let's be together, let's be together. Just taking a few things from that speech. The president spoke about how that we are bound by destiny to be the largest and greatest Black nation on the earth. Is that just a potential, or is that our reality in Nigeria? Hello, Madam Odua.
I can't hear you.
All right, so we do you hear me now?
Not very well. I'm having issue with network. I can't hear you.
All right, we'll just see how that improves in a short while. Perhaps you can also do away with the video. The connection will improve. If the video is off, it would help with the connection from your end. Flipping that over to Professor Dinka.
Okay, you feel so? Okay.
Yeah, it will help. But if you're hearing me now, it means that we are overcoming. Flipping it over to Professor Adenkalu, we're just listening to Madam Adeboye here in the studio, the story of dignity and the story of seeking to belong. It seems that we can draw a nexus
as the conversation evolves, we'll try and
Adenkalu, we're just listening to Madam Adeboye here in the studio, the story of dignity and the story of seeking to belong. It seems that we can draw a nexus
as the conversation evolves, we'll try and what exactly?
Hello, sir.
Yep, I'm here.
All right, so just drawing parallels with what Mrs. Adeboye said about dignity and about seeking to belong, it seems also that that is the outcry of many people around the country, wouldn't you say?
Yes, that's accurate, but you know, I am regrettably not yet a Nigerian female. I'm working hard at it. But I remain the proud son of a Nigerian female. And as you well know, the loss of a mother is probably the most brutal rite of passage an adult, particularly in a part of the world, goes through. it's much more brutal than the loss of probably any other person other than the loss of a child in one's life. So you see, the point about dignity for the woman is it's actually around that quite often you construct the dignity of the society. And I love the way in which Madam Adeboye has subverted quite positively the notion of independence, because we tend to see independence as political independence of a country, not independence as the capability and dignity of the people who make up the country, which is the point that she's made with extraordinary clarity and passion and reason as well. And there, I think we've come up very short. Yeah, you know, we all say this thing about Nigeria and religion and the role of religion in our country, but we do a lot of religion without a lot of God in it. For us, religion is appearance of piety. You know, we wear these things and we carry our beads and prayer beads and we observe the sessions as we see fit. But do we really practice what religion preaches? We are all lawyers here. And I'll give only 2 instances, both of which illustrate the same thing. Take the case of Mojeku and Mojeku. We all cite it to show what progress we have made from Beijing in relation to the human rights of women and rights of inheritance, correct?
Yeah.
Now, what we miss is that case started in 1966 and was decided in 1997. That is, it took how many years? 31 years, correct?
Yeah.
How many widows want to spend 31 years in court fighting for the assets that their husbands left for them? There's this more recent case that the Supreme Court decided. I'm struggling from Abia State. Now, it started in 1981 and was decided in 2018, I believe. Yes? Now, again, on inheritance rights of women, a country that is godly will not allow a widow to spend 35 years in court or 31 years in court looking for the assets left to them by their husbands, their late husbands. That is not godly. And that does not promote the dignity of the woman or of the children whom she's got to bring up.
All right, swinging it over to Joyce Odua. Do you hear us now? Is this better? Hello, Madam Odua.
Yeah, better.
Oh, I thought as well, as much. Thank you very much. And so we are analyzing the president's speech today and just putting that side by side, what independence means to the Nigerian female. And part of what he said today is that he justifies the fuel hike and said that the country belongs not just to Mr. President and or the ruling opposition party, but the country for all of us, and we must play our part irrespective of challenges we face to make this country what we desire. In a country where half of its population, which are the females, are not well used in terms of their abilities, how can this be a reality?
Thank you very much. Before I continue, I would like to say Happy Independence Day to all of us. And like we all know, independence means exception from reliance or on control by others. Freedom from relying upon or depending upon something or someone. It means also to be self-directing, direction of one's own affairs without interference. Synonyms for this, because today is our Independence Day, is liberation, freedom, self-reliance, and autonomy. Like we all know, Nigeria is an independent country, and like what you said from the president's speech, we'll find out that despite what we all say, like what I came here with is to talk about independence that it means to the Nigerian female. When we talk about the Nigerian female, We're not talking about them. Like when we said now, the question is, what does it mean for us as women? What has this independence narrative got to do with us as women in a patriarchal African society like Nigeria? We will all know that the men we see, women cannot make decisions. What I would like to say is, my husband is an assistant controller in the Nigerian immigration. And I know of a fact that if a man goes to the Nigerian Immigration Service with a child to acquire passport, you will find out that they will never ask for the consent of the woman. They won't ask him to go and get the consent of the wife. But if a woman comes with a child to the immigration office to acquire a passport, what they will ask for is the consent. Now, what does it mean when we say independence of women like we are? Does it mean freedom from men? No, the truth is that it's not freedom from men. What we all need, each other. What we need is a complementary universe where we all have our unique roles to play. So women, we need our own role, our own space to be able to play freely. Independence for us as women is freedom to choose what role to play. As women, we can run for political offices, we can vote, we can be whatever and whoever we want to be. We can be teachers, we can be doctors, we can be leaders of top organizations if we want, we can be even housekeepers. Independence, true independence for us as women is freedom actually to decide the course of our lives. Freedom to direct our own affairs without interference, to decide whether or not to get married or not to get married. Freedom from being treated as inferior. Freedom from the notion that we have to be under a man, father or husband to be successful. Of the General Secretary months back, one of the major issues was my state of origin, where I'm from.
Hello. All right, the nature of things now with connectivity, it's just gotten jealous, and we'll try to see what we can do as soon as we can have Madam Joyce Udua, who was given her own personal experience about independence and what the struggle is for the Nigerian female. So, Madam Adeboye, before we are able to connect back with Mrs. Odua on that her thought, this conversation began against the background of the fact that there's a practice in the Nigerian courts where women are required to state whether they are Miss or Mrs., their marital status when they announce appearance in court. Do you think that is problematic?
You see,
by the way, the males are not asked to do the same thing. So is that problematic in any way?
On the one hand, we are told that we are all men. On the other hand, they're telling us to identify ourselves as either female or male. When we
Exactly.
were in the law school,
Yes.
we were not called by Mr. or Mrs. We were called our names direct. And all the times I've been in court, my own name is even long. So before you start thinking of any Mrs., I've just tell you Esbelu Adeboye. By the time you finish writing that, you will not even ask for Miss or Mrs. So I've never had an issue with appearance in court telling me to say Miss or Mrs. So I haven't had that experience. But regardless, we have a lot of double standards in our society. It is not today. Even female judges that are supposed to be CJs of states are being denied, despite their qualifying, being the most senior judges, to take up the seat of the CJ. You will find the governors are not allowing them to. These are highly placed women, judges, CJ material. So how else can we justify, if not that the issue of patriarchy is very, very much alive? No matter how a man is educated, you will still find bits of this patriarchal nature popping up embarrassingly.
Embarrassingly.
Yes, because in the judiciary,
Is that a deliberate choice of word by you?
yes, in the judiciary, seniority is key. And if a woman is the most senior judge, why tarry? Why bring politics into it? So you find that the low of the women and the highest of the women are facing the same thing. And it is a construct of our society. We need to begin to make everybody feel among. There is no man that comes to earth without the involvement of a woman. But they keep, holding us down, denying us of our legitimate rights and aspirations. But we will not be deterred.
That we're having this conversation at least speaks to the fact that we are on a journey and hopefully we will get there. Madam Odu, are you there with us?
Oh, sorry, my network disconnected. I told you I'm having a little bit of issues with my network.
Yeah, that's fine. Network is jealous today, but that's fine. We will overcome.
Amen.
So
Amen.
you were speaking about your own personal experience and what that indigenship and all of that. Is that something that a lot of women experience in this country?
Oh yes, a lot of women experience that problem. For example, if you the case of recent is that of Honorable Justice Akunikpeme. He was I think the highest, the number one judge that was to take over that seat. But because of the fact that she is from Akwa Ibom State, she's not from Cross River, she was denied that seat. Although I know that the NBA, even the NBA president is also working on that to make sure that she's being made the chief judge of Cross River State, God helping her. So you find out that this has been an issue for us women. You married to a place, you're having a problem. For example, now I know that if I'm married to Anambra, I know if I go for maybe a political office, now in my place of marriage, they might come up with issues. You are not from here. You are not a daughter of the land. Forgetting that for being married to that state shows how much I love the state. And having children for my husband means that I'm part of that state. But once it gets to that is a problem. And then when I now go back, maybe to where I am from now, Akwa Ibom State, they will come up with an issue, maybe saying that, you are married to Anambra, why not go to where you are married to get a political office? Why come back to your own state where you are, your state of birth? So you find out that this is a problem that we have, and this is a problem that needs to be taken care of. For example, we have in the Constitution, section 42, that says that we should, is freedom from discrimination. But you find out that discrimination works mostly against women. That's why we want this, they called for amendment, memoranda for amendment of the Constitution. I sent in something and I said, please, we want something to come up clearly in the Constitution to state that as a woman, if you are married outside your state of birth, you should be given the right, it should be in the Constitution, you should be given the right to choose which state you want. You should be able to choose, I want my state of birth or I want my state of marriage, because this has created a lot of injustice against us women. Lot of appointments. Women have not been able to get a lot of appointment because of being married outside their state of birth. Like mostly, I know that this really reflects when it comes to the appointment of chief judges. And these are judges that have stayed so long in that state working. So I believe that this is an issue that the government needs to look at. We as women, we need our freedom to be able to choose where we are from, either place of birth or place of marriage. Thank you, my darling.
Thank you too. Professor Odinkalu, I know for a fact that you led a committee of the Nigerian Bar Association that had to deal with some of these gnawing issues on gender and discrimination. Can you tell us in brief what the summary of that report and your own findings are, and how that could help moving forward?
Well, I don't know. Actually, the mandate that was in late 2012, early 2013, under President, then NBA President Okewale, was to lead a systems audit of the NBA Secretariat and NBA's operations, and then the mandate kind of expanded. And the one thing that struck us ultimately as we went through that process was the epidemic of sexual harassment and sexual exploitation of female staff at the Secretariat of the NBA. And I know that I then came under a lot of pressure to kind of cover it up and not address it in the report. But there was no way in good conscience that we could not address it. Look, you have here just the second female ever to be the General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association. The first was, of course, Harriet Balogun. And it's a story I will not go into, but there in stark terms is your story of sexism and male privilege at the Nigerian Bar Association. All right? Yeah. And it's been there, we're 60 years this year. And if you go back, the story, I could go into that history, but I don't want to do that. But it tells you one thing though. If at 60 years as the Nigerian Bar Association and at since 1888, right? We've been existing, that's 132 years. That's 132 years. We have only produced 2 female secretary generals. That tells you something. And what we discovered was young females who worked in the Secretariat of the NBA were converted into basically objects of gratification for senior lawyers and officials of the NBA. And you would have senior members of NEC and indeed elected officials of the organization called to tell a member of staff who is female, young, to wait at the Secretariat for them. And they will come in at 6, 7 p.m. and start going behind your back and trying to rustle you up. And of course, because of insecurities in the workplace and all of that, difficulties with the workplace, a lot of these young women did not have the agency to say the right things. And those of them who had the agency never got anywhere. Those of them who were married and took their marriages seriously never got anywhere. They never went to MBA Annual General Meet Conference. They never went to IBA. They were saddled with portfolios that gave them neither exposure nor skill, nor job fulfillment, nor growth, nor indeed pay. And the dehumanization was such that you could not honestly do that piece of work without reporting on it. And I know that when I reported on it, I then took a lot of hit. But look, I'm adult enough to be abused. I have no problems with that. It would have been much easier leaving it out. But then the conscience problems I would have had would not have enabled me to sleep. Because these young women are our sisters, they are our daughters, we are married to them. And part of this conversation is not just about women, it is also about the responsibilities of men. Because we are the people who enjoy the privilege, and we are the people who are spoiled. And if we are going to sort this thing out, it's not just women alone who have to play a role. Men also have to play a role in articulating the case why we need to sort this out in partnership. Because look, if women are better able to fulfill themselves, men will not die as early as we are dying. So I'm not saying this because I love women. I'm saying this because I love myself. I want to live long. That means if women are able and capable and actually fulfilled and living a good life, all of us will enjoy this earth better and we will fulfill our missions to the fullest. And that's what I want to see.
This sounds like a good thing, and I can see that Professor Joy Ezelu has come up the scene at a point where the men are just, looking to see how they can survive by ensuring that we are moved forward. Professor Joy, thank you for joining us on House of Justice. I think you would need to unmute. We cannot hear you. If you could please
Yes,
unmute.
I have.
Ah,
Yeah, yes.
thank you for joining us on this conversation, Professor Joy Ngozi Ezielo OON. She's a professor
Thank
of
you.
public law, University of Nigeria, and a former United Nations Special Rapporteur on Human Trafficking. Thank you for joining us, Prof.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, we have moved the conversation quite far, but I think that it is important at this point to draw parallels with the Rwandan experience, where you have 64% of women in parliament and quite a number of Rwandese female who are in public life, and they have been able to build that country from the ground up, a country that has been ravaged by genocide. What is the role of women in nation building?
Is that question for me?
Yes, it is for
I
you.
just lost connection. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for organizing this special independent program to talk about role of women in nation building. The role of women in nation building is critical, and I don't think any nation can develop without full involvement of the women folk. You cannot run on one foot. If you try to, of course, the person will fall and fall over. And that's maybe also the issue with Nigeria, with near neglect or underrepresentation of women at all levels of governance. And of course, I'm sure you've dealt with the statistical information around women representation in general in Nigeria, which is under 10% when you look at both National Assembly and state houses of assembly. But then if you're comparing, even in comparison with other African countries, Nigeria is a laggard. If you look at the World Economic Forum report 2020, you find that Nigeria was like about 100 out of the 153 countries assessed. I think they may be 143rd or something, just surpassing few countries that we are not proud to say that we have, because in fact, what was instructive with that was that every African country and every West African country in terms of ranking past Nigeria. So if you look at Senegal, if you look at Uganda, you look at Tanzania, from west to other parts of Africa, you find that Nigeria was way behind others. Yet we are supposed to be giant of Africa, yet we are supposed to be. So when you look at why is this so, because I recall that at independence or prior to independence, in all the independence struggle, that women even played a role at a time that Nigeria was not born as a nation. We have people like Janet Moore-Kello from my part of the world that was part of going to Lancaster House, negotiating the constitution, the same with Margaret Ebo, and then other women. So what happened, that if women were part of negotiating Nigerian state at very beginning, when we're still under colonial rule, that at independence, we started to lose some of the gains that we gained, like franchise, right to vote, that we didn't have to struggle because all Western world have already done the struggle. Yes, I know that a lot is in our hands to do. Familiar, the social norms where the prevailing social, unfortunately, most women and girls have internalized the status of the other sex, the status of many person, the subordinate, want to be seen, not heard, one that shouldn't take decisions affecting them. It comes, and then if you're looking at the public-private dichotomy about what should be the right role of a woman, and the woman may be playing a role in a more reproductive role and not productive role. And then for some, we say, God forbid, if a woman becomes a governor, then who will do this? If a woman becomes a traditional, who will do the colon? Then it means that, men, this is traditional role of men. But I think then we are looking at it from wrong perception, because for those countries that have gained equality in these key sectors, whether politics, whether economy, whether in the social sphere, they are better for it, because that will fast track development. Women will raise the quality of leadership. I heard you mention, I heard what you mentioned there, Rwanda. Do you know the sad things that sometimes I sit
I reflect as an activist for over 2 decades, I was part of making the Rwanda Constitution. I spent 2 weeks with the Constitutional Committee in Rwanda, moving from Kigali to Kibuye, and like Kibuye, we were there on a retreat writing this constitution, and the part that affirms that affirmative action, I was not only part of it, initiated it. And I think apart from, I traveled, there were 2 other, myself and Dr. Tive, who were invited as an expert then, as a consultant, working with them. And then apart from that, the others were Americans. And then the rest of the group were the indigenous, the women of Rwanda from different 3 key tribes. And then they gathered the 3 ethnic groups that they had. And we worked with this constitutional committee and came up with what later transformed to the representation that is being celebrated beyond African continent, because they are about 3rd in the world, apart from the 2 other countries, in Nordic countries and Iceland. They are the 3rd in the world. And not only just that, they have seen that women participation in governance have been able, it had resulted directly in raising the quality of leadership, in fast-tracking development in the country. If we cannot talk of sustainable development or sustainable democracy, if the gender agenda is taken into equation. So we must take it into equation. Otherwise, our democracy and development will be engendered, and will be in danger, if not engendered. So we have to, it's a long battle, because sometimes I lose faith and I say, like, why do I have to work so hard? And I've been doing this over and over. Sometimes it's like 1 step forward and then 10 steps backwards. How are we going to get it right? When will women start to matter and to count? And I know, yes, women have power. I agree. And I agree that we have to begin to use that our numerical strength. But then, of course, women are not homogeneous group. And it might be wrong just to assume that all women are the same and have the same power. Yes, we definitely have our agency, but the conditioning and the social conditioning, including by religion and by other, they have kind of conditioned women to even accept their position, to accept the position that to actually sit where the society have asked them to sit. And then that is impacting on everybody's development, because we have to realize that progress for women is progress for the nation. And if the cliche that if you train a woman or a girl child, then you train. So women are real contributors. Think of food security. Without women and the subsistence agriculture they do that contribute to the livelihood sustainability of their family, what will happen? Without our mothers, when my father died, I can imagine what would have become of myself and my 5 siblings. We are 6. Without my mother doing what she did and working hard to sustain the family. And there are many female-headed households like that, where women have struggled as widows, all odds to raise their children, and today all of us are graduates. So you look at other areas. In terms of women dominate the informal economy, and without almost near absence of state support, no safety net, despite the surreptitious, the forms of violations of their rights, the violence against women and girls, which has been institutionalized, and then the lack of access to even credit facility, lack of access to farmland. I deal with cases where women, even just to have a land to farm, and particularly if because of inheritance that is skewed against women, notwithstanding that the Supreme Court has decided. But what is the reality? In most of those rural areas, they still discriminate, they have to beg, and if they are not of good behavior, as may be construed by the husband place, they will ask them, they can even uproot their crops and they will go hungry. But we have to look at maternity as a social function. Women, and we cannot allow that reproductive role to affect or undermine their access to capital, an important means of production. Nigerian women have been cheated out of a lot of things. And as we are 60, is a time to take stock. Yes, we've achieved some milestone, no doubt. We've come from, we look at enrollment in education sector is getting better. I can tell you, I'm in the university system. More women are now students, even law students in my faculty. Unlike when we started out, it was clearly more men. Now, many of them, we had one hostel. Women have even claimed 3 other hostels. Then it was like in any campus, one major. But now they've gotten, so more women are in the system now in higher tertiary education, unlike even before. And in some places, they're even having male drop out of school, but yet that in terms of literacy and overall literacy, level literacy, and then the polarization and the divide, you find that they are still lacking in STEM, like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. Those are informed by gender discrimination, and gender disparities still exist there because they are believed that they are meant to, not to aspire, to be the mathematician, to be the engineer, and then the over segregation in certain jobs that is seen as what a woman should be doing in order to be a good woman, as construed by society. So, but I know there are milestones, there are barricades, is a journey that has started, and we're not going to relent. We have to just keep on mobilizing and sensitizing and conscientizing women to the extent that they will know that their future is in their hands. And if they don't demand and persistent demanding of accountability and gender accountability, we will not achieve it. We need to have our voice in the laws that affect us. We need to make sure at this time of constitutional review is a time that we can achieve what we want. Look at Kenya, talking of dissolution of parliament, because the gender equality agenda, law was not met, but at least they've achieved that. There are many countries, they have affirmative action, and we're still struggling to even implement a national policy that talks about 35% affirmative action. Why should we struggle? 35% is not even a fair share. It's not a fair share at all to think of contribution of women in society. So why should women even struggle to get that share that is not even a fair share? We should be talking of 50-50. But because power has become access to making money, get rich with, self-aggrandizement, so long as politics is monetized, so long as politics is the easiest way to make money in Nigeria, men will dominate. Men love the power, and they will dominate, and the power gives them access to state fund and corruption and the money, and they will not allow women to compete, and women can never compete favorably, with this kind of mercantile politics and godfatherism and what have you. That's what accounts for the high failure rate of women political enterprise, so to speak. So if we just have that system until it is made less attractive, and then people get in there, or until even the value of our votes, depending on value of our votes and our vote count, and we can have free and fair election and put people we want to put there, and then maybe they will work for the people. But now they all know, some of them know how they got in there, so they are not accountable in terms of elected representative, especially the parliamentarians. They have failed Nigerians, because people go to parliament because they are passionate about one thing or the other, and they go there and pursue their passion. But here you have people who have no interest even in the committee they serve. All they talk about is about money and sharing of money. And what are we going to do? So get tired of this. And that is why they don't want women to be in those spaces. And women will have to fight for their right, because inclusion, we're talking of sustainable development goal, that goal 5 is very specific about advancing gender equality and achieving gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls, leaving no one behind. So women will have to fight for their right. We have to fight for our right. We have to fight for inclusion. It's a matter of social justice. We are part of democracy. And in a constitutional democracy, women must count. Our voice must count. But we have to make concerted effort, unite, and then even our differences should not be, we should find a way that we turn our differences to become a political resource. Because yes, we are not homogeneous. We come from different parts of Nigeria. The politics of Nigeria itself affects us to women's rights issue. If you come from a certain area, you may not want to confront issues in your area, because when you say so, you become, again, you're now turning against your ethnic group. So you see that also permeates the women's struggle about what become even critical issues to put on the national front burner of national discourse. So it's also a problem. But if we survive, what I tell women, just look at every ethnic group. Is there one ethnic group that respects women's rights more than the other? Is there one ethnic group where you can say, or one religious group where you can say that women enjoy their human rights more than the other? When you look at that, then we come back to our common problems, and we see how intersectional, the intersectionality or intertwine, the problem is, and is interrelated, and we have to solve it and know that so long as no one ethnic group or one religious group respect human rights of women, and we all have issues in our different corners. We have to come together, we have to unite, and maybe probably also it will be a platform for unity of this country, and women will have to speak out and get their rightful place. And I believe when women are in power, definitely they may be able to deal with some of these issues of corruption, of issues of moral, lack of moral compass, the generation that we are seeing in society today. I'm not saying women are sane, but I think they will not be doing what demonstrating this kind of lack of patriotism that even the political class cannot think in the best interest of this country. We have to just seize that power. We have to get to make sure that we count. We can no longer be begging and begging for everything. I think time is now that we have to demand what is our right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Professor Joy Ngozi Ezielu. Just before you joined us, and I'm putting this question to Madam Joyce Odua, the General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association. Professor Odinkalu painted a picture that can best be described as grim about what happens in the Nigerian Bar Association Secretariat. And Madam Adeboye here, has done a quick analysis of what happens to female judges when they are supposed to be chief judges of states, or even, yes. I think there was a situation with the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the first female Chief Justice of Nigeria. We had to go back and forth on the issue. But the real question...
we wanted to send her to the Gambia or Seychelles. They didn't want to make her Chief Justice, by the way. She had been bypassed in Kano. The man who preceded her was her junior in the judiciary.
That's injustice.
Yes, Bahiru Mustafa was her junior in the Kano High Court, okay?
Right.
And she was passed up in the Court of Appeal. And when she came to be Chief Justice, they wanted to pass her up. They offered her Chief Justiceship of the Gambia or Seychelles or anywhere, and she turned it down and insisted. That the only reason they made her Chief Justice is they had nowhere else to go.
Wow.
The discrimination is sad that we are still at this level, gender discrimination that women suffer in all spheres of life. And I recall also Professor Chidi Odinkalu was also very key. You remember when the indigeneity problem affected a female judge that was appointed to the Court of Appeal, and then all of a sudden the issue of her state, just like what happened in Cross River State, So women just, I don't know, are we really citizens in this democratic state, Nigeria? Why should this matter? Every day we are celebrating our fellow Nigerians in diaspora who go there, who were actually born in Nigeria, acquired citizenship of other countries, and then are sent to become ministers. And the other day it was in Alberta, an attorney general from my own ethnic group, and he was born here, and he just migrated. And how come that someone like me who has been living in Nigeria forever, and then ever since I was a baby, and then I can't even be anything in Nigeria, because the issue of indigeneity and marriage, and whether you're married within state and out of state will affect. I mean, we have to just go beyond this and redefine, who is a citizen of this country, because all of those things are issues about sense of belonging, and they are important democratic issues that we must find solutions to if we are to also survive as a nation.
Wow.
You're right, Prof.
And so as the second General Secretary of the Nigeria Bar Association, an association that is 60 years old as the independence of Nigeria, we're talking about the legal profession that refers to itself as learned. How is it that we have not been able to rise above these prejudices? And if we have not been able to rise above these prejudices, what is the hope for the rest of society to even understand what the issues are in order that there could be the change that we're looking for?
Please let me say congratulations to our General Secretary because she really fought one hell of an election fight. And my learned sister, namesake, you had my vote. I didn't think twice to vote for you, and I was able to get some other people around my environment. And you have shattered the glass ceiling. And I know that you're going to also perform credibly well. So congratulations.
Yeah, and I think this is a good time to pop champagne.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prof. I'm really grateful. First, I want to address this to Professor Dinkalu and thank him for being a male champion. He's a good man. He supports women, and I will say that. And he mentioned it that, okay, I'm the second to be the general secretary, female general secretary. I will tell you that it was one hell of a job. For the profession, whether you like it or not, there is serious discrimination against us women in the profession, whether you like it or not. But the joy is that we have male champions that are really in support of us. I remember when we were campaigning, you can't believe it. When some of my supporters will speak to some people, some men, and say, please support Joyce. I mean, male talking to other males. And the man would tell one of my supporters that, come, you know, women can't handle the position of general secretary now. How can you give that to a woman? It must be a man. If you check it, I've visited the office of the general secretary. If you see the heap of files that they have there, I don't think a woman can act as general secretary. So this has been the mindset of some of our colleagues. You know, that is why we have not been able to get there to become the general secretary. And like also the society also, you know, has a role to play in this. I remember when I spoke with Professor Joy, she, if I'm not mistaken, yes, she was the one when I spoke with her to support me. She said, come, first, I will want to commend your husband. If I'm not mistaken, she said that. I want to commend your husband because it is not easy for a husband to support a wife to run for a position. She even prayed for him that he's a good man to support me. So you find out that for one to get up there, we really need the support of the men, our husbands, our fathers, our brothers, everyone to get there. That is the truth. So women, most of the time we don't get the support. That is why it's difficult to become this race. Like Professor Joy said, it was a battle. It was a serious battle. You know, I went against 4 men, formidable men. They are not jokes. They are not, they were not there for joke. And I was with them, and with all the support of people like Professor Odin Kalu and some great men and women, I was able to get this ticket. I will say that women also, we need to come together. For us to be able to shatter this glass ceiling, we as women need to come together. And that is how we can also get our independence. This is not the time for a woman to be maybe going for a position. Other women will say, must she be the one to be there? No. Whenever we see our women and we know that that woman is capable, is competent, I think we need to put our acts together, come together and support our fellow woman. If not, it will be very difficult to get up there. So like now that I'm there by God's grace, I'm praying for more of our women to come up. I've spoken to some. Will you like to run for the office of the general secretary? And no, it's not easy. Where am I going to get the finances from? Where am I going to get the support? It's highly cost intensive. Where am I going to get the finances from? How am I going to get the support? Do I have the strength? I know what you must have gone through, mental torture, different things. I tell you, it was really difficult. But we as women, we need this independence. We need to get there. Just like Prof said, we women in leadership will turn things around for this nation. And I pray we all come together, work together with support of our male champions. I can't do without them. Most of the men were there. They put their head on the shutter to be cut off. They are ready. They said, Joyce, it's you or nobody. I'm not supporting my fellow male. I'm going to support you because it's been long since we had a woman there. And let's get a change. So that is the same thing we need, even in the national political sphere. How can we say for a House of Senate that we have 109 seats, only 7 women? That is not good enough. We need to work together. We need to take 109, only 7, that means 102. The men have 102. And then when you come to the House National Assembly, what do you have there? The House of Representatives. I think it's about 360 seats. And we have either 19, 20, or 21 women. 18. That is not good enough. We need to come together. It's not good enough. The affirmative action of 35%, We are not even able to make 10%, not to talk about 35%. So we really need to put our acts together, come together, work together, and believe in ourselves. We women, we need to believe in ourselves. If I didn't believe in myself, this wouldn't have been possible. We need to believe in ourselves that we can do it. I will tell you the truth. A lot of people that were supposed to support me, the high up there, they did not support me, but I was determined. I told God, you will help me, and he has done that. So we as women, we need to
So
be
now
determined.
now that you are there, Madam Udwa, let's talk about real issues. In the secretariat, you heard Professor Odinkalu talk about his report, the report of his committee, and they found that there's a lot of sexual abuse in your secretariat. What do you intend to do about that? Because for us, it's not just about the office, it's about doing the job. So what do you intend to do in that secretariat about this issue?
The truth is that when Professor Odinkalu was made a member of the committee, or the chairman of that committee, that was when I was the treasurer of the Nigerian Bar Association. That was 2012 to 2014. And when he came out with that recommendation, that was looked into. And I can tell you now that I'm there, as the secretary, as a female secretary, I don't have such reports any longer. And if I get such reports, I tell you the truth, that will be handled. I will have to communicate that to the president, and whoever committed such offense against a female will be dealt with seriously. Because even the president of MBA, he's somebody that is against women being treated unfairly.
Madam Jensek, sorry for my bad manners. Can we at least ask for a sexual harassment and bodily integrity policy at the MBA Secretariat? Can we ask that the MBA leads a total change, a tonal change in this, not just with a policy, but with skills training for lawyers and for law firms, so that by the time your tenure ends in 2 years, we can say, you know what, we got this. We didn't just get the second female general secretary of the MBA. She turned the page for us. I'm putting this on the table as a deliberate ask, so that we don't waste this hour that we have with you.
Thank you very much, Prof. We are going to work on that.
I totally
I'm going to get in touch with you. I'm going to get in touch with you.
I will be ready also to support our General Secretary. We will support in any way. He had made an excellent point. We need to have a policy on this.
No, true. We're going to have that policy. Even when I was running my campaign, I talked about that also, that we need to do that, not only for the secretariat, but all lawyers in the country. You'll find out that most female lawyers are sexually harassed by their employers. And when they are sexually harassed, they can't even come out to say anything. Why can't they come out to say anything? Because of the security of their job. So they just keep quiet. So what we're going to come with a deliberate policy on this, so that if such things happen, you report, you speak out, and that employer will not be able to sack you or to get you off job. So we are going to do that for sure, Prof. And I will need your help. I'll get back to you, Prof. And Prof, the two Profs, I'm going to get in touch with you so that we can work on that. Thank you very much.
So
absolutely. God bless you, ma'am.
You've just got Prof's support. And back in the studio with me, the FIDA representative. You realize that we are talking about how the female person can actually be human enough. That this is what the summary of this conversation is. And so my question to you is that what is FIDA doing about this? Can you just tell us what your organization, the International Federation of Women Lawyers, have done that has even gotten us here? What are your contributions? What are your challenges? Talk about it.
Okay. As a FIDA member, we actually go to target the young ones by way of going to schools for sensitization, building their confidence, and making them feel that they can achieve. They just need to dream it. We support them with legal clinics, and we also organize workshops for women, especially market women too, so that even though you don't have the Western education, if you are enlightened, you know where to go to get your rights and how to do things. As for participation of women in politics, everything has become Naira and Kobo affair. And to get a woman to go into get political office without the financial backing, it is a journey she cannot do alone. It's either you're connected to one person of the one
Let me ask a
multimillionaire.
question. Is there
or-
anything about female that repels financial independence or financial ability?
Yes, you see, just like I've told you, the way the women have been raised up in our society for now, they are raised up to be dependent. And if perchance a woman has found herself in a situation that she cannot be dependent, you find that she's not economically empowered. She's begging from one place to the other, even with her education. There are so many degree holders that cannot feed themselves and cannot set up themselves. It is not their fault, it's the situation of the country. So we begin to continue to conscientize them, continue to sensitize them that they can make a difference. They only have to dream it. And with the support of organizations like FIDA, we will work together with them to ensure that they make a mark in the society.
All right, and just before we call it a day, I think it's only fair that we allow a few Nigerians to say one or two things. The number to call is 07046231510. The number again, 07046231510. And we are talking about independence and what it means to the Nigerian female. We've done an evaluation of what Nigeria has been in the past 60 years and what that has meant without having the full potential of women being exploited and being used in terms of nation building. Number again, 07046231510. And you can leave your comments at any of our social media handles on Facebook at HOJ Radio TV. You can also send us an email, hojradiotv houseofjusticeng.com. We will be able to connect with you at that point. 07046231510. So as we try to wrap up, this is about having two legs in the relay race, to use your analogy, Professor Joy. How do we ensure that this becomes more of a reality for Nigeria, looking at the fact that we have so many problems that we're now grappling with: insecurity, poor economy, hike in fuel price? How do we ensure that we have the second leg so we can, build much better? And just before I take you, we take this call. Hello? Hello? All right, we lost that caller. 07046231510. This gives us an opportunity for Nigerians to join the conversation. Yes, Professor Joy, please.
Yeah, is it on the way forward or moving forward? You wanted to get my, yes, we are really operating in a very the time, especially this COVID-19 era, where we've seen surge in violence against women and girls, and we're also experiencing economic hardship with the electricity hike and the fuel hike as well. And then women will be at the brunt of this, and in all of it, because the poverty of women, I think, especially feminization of poverty, the phenomena is real. And so who will, is the time really, I don't know.
Female.
Is that,
Is poverty female?
Yes.
The
Poverty has a female face. Yes. And then with this, because really you need to be, if you're dealing with women on daily basis like I do, And if you have services that you provide, you come and then see some just turning up even with a number of children, and you think they say, look, we've been abandoned. I don't have money to go, I don't have where to feed, and plus the physical battery. And then you see them in a very vulnerable situation. And I'm wondering, because we know we don't have any safety net,
If you could
no
just
social
for a
security.
minute, let's take this call. I'm sorry about that. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, good evening.
Excuse me, my name is Abubakar.
All right.
From Abuja.
Thank you, Abubakar from Abuja.
Well, interesting discussions. Your guests have said it all. Women have been discriminated against in this country. It's not fair. And it starts from the home front, right from when she's a child. She's made to do chores and made to feel she's inferior to the male child. The male child is not allowed to do anything. It's the girl that does it. And it goes on to when she gets married. Some men don't allow their wives to work. They don't support their wives. They believe they are placed in the house. Just stay at home. Okay. And then Professor Chidi Obin Kalu said something. Women are independent, and they are allowed to do their own thing. The men folk will live longer. But the problem here is some men, when the wife is doing well, she begins to shoulder responsibilities. They ask her to shoulder the responsibilities of the home. They take the backseat and don't want to do anything again. But I look to see in Nigeria where we have 95% of political office holders women. And I'm telling you, I know that
will that not be discriminatory against the males?
No, it won't be. It won't be. It's been a man's Nigeria since independence. It won't be discriminatory. I look to see in Nigeria where we have 95% of political office holders are women. And I'm telling you, I know that if we can give women the chance in this country, they will take us to the promised land. It's been a man's Nigeria since independence. What have the men done? That's them.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Abubakar. I'm afraid we can't take any more of that. We are running out of time. But back to Professor Joy as we try to round up. Your thoughts, please.
Thank you. This is Independence Day for Nigeria. Women are far away from their independence because where the power is, women are not. Yet women contribute a lot in terms of nation building. They need recognition for that. They need support. We need safety net. We need just our due. We need to get the equal opportunity so that in all sectors, and I know they will excel, women will excel. All they need is that equal opportunity. And if necessary, also beyond that, support so that the systemic discrimination will be overcome. And for the women, I say this is also a occasion to take stock and know how far we've gone, come with this journey of making of Nigeria and the nation state Nigeria, and also to demand our rightful place in this country, Nigeria, because it is our country, it belongs to all of us, and we should not be left behind in terms of whether democracy, development, or whatever. That is even in distribution and allocation of both power and resources. We should be part and parcel of partaking in that because Nigeria belongs to us as well. And in a constitutional democracy, we are full citizen in that democratic state Nigeria. And time is now even to begin to plan for 2023 so that we are not left behind and we don't have this kind of poor showing that we had currently with regard to representation across the country. Thank you.
Well, your quick comments, please. Hello, Madam Joyce Udwa.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes, your concluding remarks, half a second, half a minute, actually.
Okay, I would like to say that I have a dream that one of these days, it will be better for the Nigerian women. They will be more independent than what they are now. And I would like to say that we should remember that there was a time that women could not become doctors, could not become lawyers, could not vote or be voted for. Now some women are able to break the glass ceiling. in this quest for female independence, we are not where we should be. We are not where we should be, but we are where we are not where we used to be. We are not where we should be, but we are not where we used to be. We may not have attained that full independence or freedom, which is our dream, but we are on our way there.
All right.
We must not relent. We must be determined. A dream is only a dream when it keeps you awake all night.
All right.
I know that very soon, that 95%
Okay. All right, Madam
Well,
Adi.
Yeah. No one can make you happy.
that the caller said, we are going to get that women are discriminating against them.
All right, thank you. Madam Adiboye.
Yes, the dreams can be realized with interest, passion, and determination. Whenever we see a woman that is interested and is dogged in a fight, the male folk should support and rally around her, as well as the female folk. We can get there. We can do better.
All right, Professor Chidi Odenkalu. Oh, I think that we have lost Prof temporarily. Well, this is the point where we... Hello, Prof. Hello, Professor Odenkalu.
Ma?
Yeah, your concluding remarks.
I agree with everything. I don't really have anything further to add. Thank you very much. This has been exceptionally enlightening. And I'm glad that we have a deliverable to follow up on here in terms of the Nigerian Bar Association and what can be done under the present General Secretary. That makes my day. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
That's a good one.
Chidi Ansem Odenkalu, for being with us on House of Justice. Thank you very much. And thank you also, Professor Joy Ngozi Ezielu, for being with us on the special edition of House of Justice. Thank you very much, Ma. And I'm grateful also to Madam General Secretary Joyce Odua, the General Secretary of the Nigeria Bar Association, for joining this conversation and for agreeing to lead the change.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Adeboye, as well. I think that this is a good time to call it a day. My name is Barrister Balasan Gloria. 18 insist on the force of law and not the law of force. God bless Nigeria and God bless the beautiful people of this country. Bye for now.
Good nation.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Jensek. Adamayo Madalo. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks.